You keep asking why the world treats you the way it does. You keep wondering why people don't give you the respect you crave, the love you expect, the opportunities you think you deserve. But the world is only a mirror. It will not hand you what you have not already built within yourself. If you are chaotic inside, your life will be chaotic outside. If you are full of doubt, your relationships will be full of cracks. If you are careless with yourself, the world will be careless with you. The world reflects the state of your inner self in ways most people never notice until it's too late. Every day, you walk through life carrying an invisible energy, and people, situations, even opportunities respond to that energy before you open your mouth. If inside you are restless, angry, or uncertain, life has a way of mirroring that restlessness, anger, and uncertainty right back at you. It's not magic, it's alignment. You attract and create environments that match the way you are internally structured. That is why two people can live in the same city, meet the same kinds of people, face the same challenges, yet one will see abundance and possibility, while the other sees only obstacles and disappointment. The difference isn't in the world, it's in them. When you are internally chaotic, your decisions reflect that chaos. You choose quickly, without clarity, or you hesitate endlessly because you don't trust yourself. Either way, you send signals to the world that you are not ready for what you think you deserve. People notice these signals, even if they can't explain them. They feel them in your tone, in your posture, in the way you look away when something requires courage. And so, they respond in kind, offering less, trusting less, investing less. If your inner self is full of doubt, that doubt spills into your words and your actions. You might think you're hiding it well, but your hesitation, your second guessing, your tendency to ask for reassurance are all signs that you have not yet built the internal certainty to hold what you want. And because the world reflects what you show, you will find yourself surrounded by people who doubt you too, by opportunities that slip away because they sense you are not grounded. But the reverse is equally true. If inside you are steady, intentional, and self-assured, the world begins to respond with steadiness, opportunities, and respect. Your calm becomes a force that others are drawn to. Your certainty makes people trust you more. The way you carry yourself, without having to announce it, tells the world you are ready. That readiness is what causes doors to open without you having to knock so hard. It's not enough to try and fix the outside while leaving the inside untouched. Changing your clothes, speaking with confidence, or rehearsing the right words will not work if your inner state contradicts the image you are trying to project. The world senses the mismatch and reacts to the truth it feels, not the mask you wear. If you want real change, it has to start where no one can see it, inside your thoughts, your beliefs, your private habits. Your inner world is like the soil in which your life grows. If the soil is dry, neglected, and full of weeds, you cannot expect healthy plants to thrive. You can plant as much as you want, but without nourishing the soil, everything will wither. The same applies to your reality. Without fixing what is within you, your focus, your discipline, your sense of worth, you will continue to see results that match the neglected state of your inner world. The reason people often feel stuck is because they are trying to change their reflection without changing the face in the mirror. They want a better response from the world, but refuse to look at the energy they are putting out. The reflection changes only when you do. When your inner self becomes ordered, disciplined, and strong, the world cannot help but reflect that order, discipline, and strength back to you. That is why all true transformation begins not with fixing the world, but with fixing yourself from the inside out. Stop waiting for others to fix what you can repair yourself, because every moment you delay is another moment you hand over control of your life. People convince themselves that the right person, the right opportunity, or the right circumstance will appear and magically set everything right. They think healing will come when someone finally apologizes, that confidence will come when someone finally believes in them, that success will come when someone finally opens the right door. But this mindset is the quietest form of self-sabotage because it keeps you in a passive position, watching life happen instead of shaping it. No one is coming with a perfect solution. Even the people who love you cannot live your life for you. They can support you, encourage you, even guide you, but they cannot do the work that only you can do. If you are waiting for someone to inspire you before you take action, you will find yourself wading through seasons, years, entire chapters of your life that could have been spent building. The truth is, most people are too busy fighting their own battles to carry you through yours. That's not selfishness. It's reality. The danger of waiting for others to fix you is that it makes you dependent on forces outside your control. You become reactive, always adjusting to someone else's timing, someone else's decisions, someone else's idea of what is best for you. And because those things are unpredictable, your growth becomes inconsistent, your progress fragile. You can spend years in this cycle, moving only when someone else pushes you, stopping the moment their attention shifts. This is why so many people feel stuck in the same patterns. They never learn to generate their own momentum. The repair you need often begins with uncomfortable self-honesty. It requires looking at the parts of your life you avoid because they make you feel inadequate or ashamed. It means admitting that the habits you've built, the excuses you repeat, and the choices you make are keeping you exactly where you are. That's the part most people try to skip. They want the change without the confrontation, but you can't heal what you refuse to face. And you can't face what you keep pretending isn't broken. When you decide to fix what you can, without waiting for rescue, you start to reclaim pieces of yourself you didn't even realize you had given away. You realize that no apology is needed for you to set boundaries. No permission is required for you to pursue something better. And no one has to believe in you before you start believing in yourself. The power you've been waiting for has been in your hands all along. You were just too focused on the door that never opened to see the tools already in your grasp. This doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. It means you become the primary driver of your own transformation. Help and guidance are valuable, but they are most powerful when you are already moving. If you are standing still, waiting for someone to pull you forward, you will find that even when they try, the progress is temporary. But when you are already building, already repairing, already pushing forward, the help you receive becomes fuel rather than crutches. There is a kind of strength that develops only when you stop expecting to be saved. It sharpens your mind, makes your actions deliberate, and turns your focus inward to the things you can control. You stop wasting energy on what others should be doing and start pouring it into what you can do now. In that shift, you begin to realize that the person you were waiting for has been with you all along. You just had to step into their role yourself. Your habits shape how the world treats you because they are the clearest proof of who you are. Far more than your words or your intentions. People may listen to what you say, but they believe what you consistently do. If you show up late, break your promises, or carry yourself without care, you teach the world that your time, your word, and your presence are not to be taken seriously. On the other hand, if you act with discipline, keep your commitments, and hold yourself to a standard, even when no one is watching, you send an unspoken message that you are a person of value, someone who should be treated with respect. Habits are not just routines, they are constant signals. The way you start your morning, the way you respond to pressure, the way you spend your free time, all of it is quietly shaping the way others interact with you. If your habits show inconsistency, people will treat you as if you cannot be relied upon. If your habits show precision and care, people will instinctively trust you more. They will offer you better opportunities, include you in more important decisions, and approach you with greater respect, often without even realizing why. The world works on patterns, and so do people. When someone sees you consistently act in a certain way, they will assume that's who you are. If your habits are sloppy, they will not expect excellence from you. If your habits are sharp, they will assume you are capable of handling more. This is why two people can have the same talent, but end up with completely different levels of respect and success. Because one's habits build trust, and the other's habits create doubt. What's dangerous is that many people underestimate how visible their habits are. They think no one notices the small things, skipping small tasks, making excuses for being late, speaking carelessly in small conversations. But these small things accumulate and tell a story. That story becomes your reputation, and your reputation becomes the filter through which the world decides how to deal with you. Good habits also protect you from being treated poorly. When you have a habit of speaking clearly and setting boundaries, people think twice before overstepping. When you have a habit of being prepared, you avoid being underestimated. When you have a habit of maintaining your standards, you naturally distance yourself from environments and people who would have treated you casually or with disregard. The most powerful thing about habits is that they work silently. You don't have to constantly explain yourself when your habits speak for you. People will see the way you handle yourself and adjust their behavior without you needing to ask. They will either rise to meet your standard or step back, and both outcomes serve you. Changing how the world treats you doesn't begin with demanding more from people. It begins with demanding more from yourself. That demand is enforced through daily action, not through occasional bursts of effort. Consistency is what convinces the world you are serious. The person who exercises discipline in the smallest details of life often commands more respect than the person who is only impressive when it matters most. Because the small things reveal the truth of a person's character. When you understand that every habit is a signal, you begin to design them with purpose. You stop excusing the ones that weaken you, no matter how small they seem, and start building the ones that silently declare your worth. Over time, those habits compound into an unshakable reputation, and the way people treat you changes naturally. Not because you demanded it, but because your habits made it impossible for them to see you any other way. Self-respect is the foundation for all respect, because the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how everyone else will treat you. If you speak to yourself harshly, accept less than you deserve, or tolerate situations that diminish you, you send a message to the world that you are willing to be treated the same way. People rarely rise above the level you set for yourself. They follow the example you create. When you value yourself, you naturally project a presence that demands value in return, without having to shout or plead for it. Self-respect is not arrogance, and it is not about thinking you are better than others. It is about knowing your worth without needing external validation. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It shows in your boundaries, in the way you say no without guilt, in the way you walk away from situations that do not align with your principles. When you have self-respect, you do not chase people's approval because you understand that losing their approval is far less damaging than losing your own integrity. Without self-respect, even success feels hollow. You might achieve certain goals, but you will always be vulnerable to manipulation, flattery, or fear of loss. People will sense this vulnerability and use it to their advantage, offering you less than you are worth, because they know you will accept it. Opportunities that should have been yours will go to others who carry themselves with more conviction. This is not because they are better, but because they made it clear they would not settle for less. Self-respect also dictates the quality of your relationships. When you respect yourself, you do not allow people to stay in your life if they consistently cross your boundaries or fail to treat you well. You do not cling to connections out of fear of being alone, because you know that solitude with self-respect is far better than companionship without it. This naturally filters your circle, attracting people who value you because they recognize that you value yourself. The presence of self-respect changes how you move through the world. You no longer feel the need to explain every decision or defend every choice because you trust yourself. You make commitments you can keep and walk away from those you cannot, without shame. You do not overextend yourself in the hope of being liked, because your own approval becomes the anchor you rely on. The people around you notice this, and it alters the way they engage with you. They approach with more care, more thought, and more consideration. There is also a discipline to self-respect. It means holding yourself accountable to your own standards, even when no one is watching. It means refusing to indulge in behaviors or habits that weaken you, even if they bring temporary comfort. It means making choices that align with the person you want to be, not just the person you feel like being in the moment. Over time, this discipline builds a kind of quiet power that others can sense, even without understanding where it comes from. When you cultivate self-respect, you stop trying to convince the world of your worth. Instead, you live in a way that makes it undeniable. You no longer need to force respect from others, because it becomes the natural response to the way you treat yourself. You become someone who cannot be easily dismissed, overlooked, or undervalued, because the foundation you stand on is built from within, and no one else has the power to weaken its strength. Comes from cutting away what no longer serves you, because carrying what is unnecessary drains the energy you need to build the life you want. People often hold on to habits, relationships, and beliefs long after they have stopped adding value, simply because they are familiar. The comfort of familiarity disguises itself as safety, but in reality, it becomes a weight that slows every step forward. It takes strength to recognize when something you once needed has now become a barrier, and even more strength to let it go without looking back. Cutting away what no longer serves you is not about being cold or detached. It is about making space for growth. Just like a tree must be pruned to grow stronger branches, you must clear away the things that keep you from reaching higher. That might mean ending relationships that drain you, walking away from environments that no longer align with your values, or abandoning beliefs that were planted in you by someone else, but no longer match who you are becoming. The process is rarely easy because the things you need to release are often tied to your identity. You might feel guilt for stepping away from people you've known for years, or fear that letting go will leave you with nothing. But holding on to what is wrong for you is more damaging than facing the discomfort of change. Every time you allow something harmful to stay in your life, you reinforce the idea that you are not strong enough to live without it. Strength in this context is not loud or aggressive. It is quiet and decisive. It is the strength of making a choice and standing by it, even when others do not understand. It is refusing to explain your decisions to people who are not living your life, and therefore cannot see the full picture. It is trusting that the space you create, by removing what no longer serves, you will eventually be filled with something better, something aligned with who you are becoming. Letting go is also a declaration of self-worth. It says that you value your peace over your comfort zone, your growth over your attachment, and your future over your past. This declaration reshapes the way the world interacts with you. When you show that you will not tolerate what is harmful or stagnant, people approach you differently. They think twice before bringing chaos into your life, because they know it will not be welcomed. The more you practice this, the stronger you become, not just in your choices, but in your entire presence. You start to notice red flags earlier, set boundaries faster, and trust your instincts more deeply. You stop apologizing for protecting your energy and start seeing it as a necessary act of respect for yourself. The weight that once slowed you begins to lift, and with it, your pace quickens, your focus sharpens, and your confidence deepens. Cutting away what no longer serves you is not a one-time act, it is an ongoing discipline. Life will constantly present you with new attachments, and not all of them will be good for you in the long run. The strength lies in regularly evaluating what you are carrying and being willing to release anything that does not support your highest self. With every unnecessary weight you put down, you make yourself lighter, freer, and more capable of moving toward the life you are meant to live. When you fix yourself, everything else aligns naturally because the world tends to respond to the energy and clarity you bring into it. Most people spend their lives trying to control things outside of themselves. Other people's opinions, unpredictable circumstances, the pace at which opportunities appear, without realizing that their real leverage lies in their own state of being. When you are unsettled inside, your decisions are scattered, your reactions are inconsistent, and your presence feels unstable to others. But when you are steady within yourself, you move with a calm that influences everything and everyone around you. Fixing yourself does not mean becoming perfect. It means identifying the parts of you that are out of alignment and bringing them back into harmony. It is noticing the patterns that keep you stuck and breaking them. It is learning to manage your thoughts so they don't spiral into fear, to choose actions that match your values, and to hold yourself accountable when you drift away from who you want to be. This internal work has an external impact that is hard to overstate. People sense it. Situations seem to open more smoothly. Conflicts resolve with less friction. When you are aligned within yourself, your priorities become clearer. You stop chasing what doesn't matter and start focusing on what truly moves you forward. This clarity changes the way you spend your time, the way you interact with others, and the way you respond to challenges. You begin to attract people and opportunities that resonate with the person you have become, not the version of you that was operating from confusion or insecurity. Without realizing it, you create an environment that supports your growth simply by embodying the kind of energy that invites it. The power of fixing yourself lies in the ripple effect it creates. The discipline you build in one area of your life starts influencing other areas. If you become more intentional about your health, you might find that your work improves because you have more energy. If you set better boundaries in relationships, you might notice that you have more mental space to focus on personal goals. This interconnectedness means that even small adjustments within yourself can lead to significant shifts in the bigger picture. People also treat you differently when you have done the work to fix yourself. They notice the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate, the way you make decisions without hesitation. They sense the stability and self-respect in you, and it naturally affects how they engage with you. The ones who once tested your boundaries stop trying. The ones who were drawn to your chaos fade away. In their place, you attract people who respect your standards and match your pace. Life becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about allowing them to unfold. When you are no longer trying to fix everything outside of you, you free up the energy to build from within. This inner alignment often makes external goals easier to reach because you are no longer moving against your own resistance. The obstacles that once felt overwhelming start to look like manageable steps. The opportunities that once felt out of reach begin to appear naturally, as if they were always waiting for you to be ready. Fixing yourself shifts the foundation of your life. Instead of constantly reacting to circumstances, you become someone who shapes them. Instead of waiting for change to come from the outside, you create it from the inside. And once the core is strong, everything built upon it stands taller, lasts longer, and moves in the direction you've always wanted it to go. Fixing yourself is not a single moment of transformation. but a constant commitment to growth, discipline, and self-awareness. It is understanding that the respect you seek, the opportunities you desire, and the peace you crave are all reflections of the state you maintain within. When you take responsibility for your own repair, shaping your habits, guarding your self-respect, cutting away what holds you back, you stop living as a passive participant in your own life. You become the source of your own stability, and from that stability, everything else begins to align. The world does not change first, you do. And when you do, the world has no choice but to follow your lead.